What's poppin', people? It's Dante. I'm inside of some, I don't know the name of this building, but it's in the Old City area. And I don't know, I just recently started walking through here and I got a pour over coffee. Pour over coffee tastes so much better than regular coffee. What's up with that? The slow brewing process or something? I don't know, I'm not really a coffee guy, but man, it's pretty good. I got the Odako Ethiopian blend. Same coffee beans from Elixir coffee shop, which is pretty nice. So, hey, another place to get a good coffee in here. Still, I don't know what the name of this place is. The Bourse, maybe. Let's go. Thank you, sir. So I'm thinking today about my new process with photography and how I've been changing things up a bit, right? I'm now photographing using high contrast black and white, using the Ricoh GR3 and 3X. Once again, you know, my first digital camera was the GR2. That's what got me started and really in love with photography. I went from the Leica M3 to the GR2, and ever since then I'm like, fuck Leica. It's just so much better. So here I am on the streets, got my coffee, and let's think. Let's flesh out some thoughts, bear with me. I might not be so coherent, it might be jumble and mumble, but at least I'm gonna give it a shot here to explain myself, because I'm gonna do this often and just like, I don't know, just sort of like try to understand more about my process for myself. So I photographed all over the world. I used color, right? I photographed using RAW files, 35mm. You know, that was my lens, that was my go-to. On the Fuji X Pro series cameras, I used the 23 f2. Yeah, I would photograph in a way where I would see the world in layers, okay? I would see the world in layers. Not only inspired by Alex Webb, okay? I received a scholarship to learn from the man himself, but it wasn't just him. It was the entire Magnum organization. I was a fanboy of Magnum, and I thought they were the best. Nowadays, I don't really know what's going on with Magnum, but I think that's where I got my inspiration from right away. I learned about Magnum first, thank God. I mean, I had a good inspiration, good source of photos to look at, I guess. I mean, that was the thing, and I looked at those guys as the best of the best. And guess what? Dante wanted to be the best photographer in the world. That was Dante's goal when he set out with this camera every single day. I would travel all over the world, thinking in the back of my head, guess what I had in the back of my head? I'm gonna be the best photographer in the world. I don't know. That's a genuine truth. I was pretty competitive when I photographed this way, and I always thought about my work being a life's mission, almost like impressing myself, right? I would photograph to impress myself, but also in the way where I really just wanted to be the top of the top, right? I was looking at Magnum, you know, I wanted to join Magnum. I literally wanted to be one of the quote-unquote best photographers in the world. So when you think of that, it's like, wow, like that was my goal. It's like, now my goals are completely different, you know? I'm not thinking this way anymore. At this point, I'm trying to be an innovator within the medium, and I believe in this new approach and the new school of street photography. How about that? There's an interesting notion. It's an ethos. It's a truth. It's something that I believe in. It's a way of doing things. After many years of experimentation and travel, I now found this new simplified way of photographing with the small JPEG high contrast files. And I'm thinking more about the archive, the endless archive, the longevity of a photographer. Who is the oldest and most prolific photographer for decades and decades that's in his 80s? Who's been photographing longer than anybody? Daido Moriyama? So I'm just like, okay, I want to just have this longevity with my work. I want it to be a stream of becoming, a stream of consciousness, and an instant sketch of life, right? I'm no longer looking to make articulate compositions and perfecting my craft to be the best, but I'm looking to let go and let life flow towards me. and to see things with a fresh pair of eyes, and to always remain curious. As curiosity, longevity, these are the goals. To forever be a curious photographer, to forever have that childlike mind, and to go out into the world and no longer making realistic pictures, but depicting the life in front of me in an abstract way, using the high contrast that allows you to do so. You can photograph a very mundane scene, and it could be very magical with this new approach. But at the same time, I'm interested in life itself. I'm interested in making that sort of instant sketch, as I'm saying, with the high contrast, with the stark blacks and the stark whites, right, crushing the shadows, and just sort of simplifying the things from the ground up, where there's no funny business, you know, it's all straight from the camera. It's the smallest files possible. It's the way that I believe in now. It's something that I strongly believe in, as I believe photography to be a fragile medium in terms of storage of archives. I've trouble finding, you know, some of the like legendary photographers' archives online. I feel like a lot of the times their files look really weird on the Googles and stuff, and it doesn't look like they ever actually properly archived their work. You know, I don't know, the Magnum Pro archive, I think you have to pay for perhaps, or they took it down. I don't really know what's up with that, but I used to be able to access that very freely. So I'm thinking of the archive as the goal, and documenting my hometown, where I'm born and raised, Philadelphia. I'm blessed to be a Philadelphian and American. I mean, I'm in the greatest city in the country, and there's an endless amount of possibilities for me to photograph here. And hear me out. Philly is the ghetto Paris. Philly is kind of like Paris in a way. We have our charm here with the architecture, with the streets, with the rivers, and the way that the city's laid out. You know, I'm not sure what that strip is in Paris. I've never been to Paris, but there's that strip that goes from the Louvre to the government building. We have something in Philly. We were inspired by that, and we built our own strip called the Ben Franklin Parkway, which will soon just be the Benjamin Franklin Park, I believe, or something like that. But yeah, I think Philly. Look at the detail in this. This one's crazy. Wow, it was an Exchange National Bank. Corn Exchange National Bank. Huh. Yeah, so Philly is the ghetto Paris. There's endless things to explore and see, and I want to make an archive that'll last for generations. And if I want to make an archive that'll last for generations, I'm not going to photograph in this new with these like new files, like with the raw file, and like adjusting the colors, and like doing like it's almost just so over cumbersome, where I don't want to ever have to use Lightroom. I don't want to ever have to, like, you know, process any of my files. I don't want to have to carry around the camera and a lens, right? Could you imagine what Walker Evans would have done if he had this in my pocket, the Ricoh? Like, he would have been making those buttonhole camera. What did he use? A buttonhole hidden camera or something on the subway he used? One of those guys used the hidden camera to get, like, it's just like, what the hell? Like, this is the way to go going forward. Like, I can only imagine, like, would Henry Cartier-Bresson be using a Leica in 2023? Like, I don't think so. You know, it's like he would be probably using the Ricoh the way that this is set up. It's just like a funny idea. Or an iPhone maybe, but iPhone sucks. So it's funny to think this way. I'm interested in just making these instant sketches of life and documenting in the terms of just like capturing the essence of the city. And so, like, without going out there with the mindset of like, oh, I'm the best photographer in the world, I'm gonna become the best photographer in the world. I think it's still a good thing to think. Like, it's good to be self-confident in the work that I'm making. But the way that I'm approaching it is in terms of minimalism now. I'm no longer interested in the complexity. I mean, sometimes you'll see something complex and, you know, I'll try to chop it down to make it a little bit more simple, actually. I'm looking for more simple pictures. It's just an interesting thing now going forward. I'm looking at the world completely differently, where I'm not necessarily looking at the foreground, middle ground, background. I'd rather have a sloppy composition, and so when I use the LCD screen and remove the viewfinder from the equation, it allows a little bit more play. It allows a little bit more spontaneous sort of things to happen, and I think it lends itself way better for street photography. When you're putting that camera up to your eye and you're composing, you know, it's gonna only get you so far, I like to say. It's gonna get you only so far. And I'm looking to dive deeper and to go go endlessly walking, non-stop, all the time making pictures. And by having a small pocketable sized camera that fits in my pocket will allow me to achieve this goal of making the Philadelphia Archive and potentially developing a new approach, something that I believe in, the new school of street photography. Join today. The Fight Club here in Philadelphia is a one-man army, but if you'd like to join, meet me at the Eagle, and I'll see you on the streets. But for now, I'm gonna down the rest of this delicious coffee, as I haven't been drinking and I'm just talking here, and hit up Penn's Landing, my favorite location in the city. It always puts a smile on my face to come down to the riverside, as you see the Ben Franklin Bridge there in the background. Some Navy ships far away in Jersey. Yeah, let's go enjoy the water. And that's about it.